Eventually, every horror franchise has to go somewhere unusual. Get enough sequels, eventually the monster has to go to space, or has to go to hell. And sometimes, they mash the monsters together with another monster to add a marquee value to the sequel. Monster mashes are a long-standing tradition in horror, and the majority of them are not very good. And debatably, even the good ones might also suck. So, to analyze the quality, metrics, and reasons why certain franchises dive straight into mashes, I asked a little help. Would you mind introducing yourself to the audience who might not know who you are?
Hi, I'm Queen Coke Francis. You might recognize me from such things as my YouTube channel, where I roast conservatives for a living.
For the folks who take pride in doing missionary exactly once per year.
I usually have a fantastic wig on, but I thought my hair was looking pretty fantastic today, so I'm using my real hair.
You obviously have some experience with talking about conservatives and media and all that good stuff, but what's your background with horror? Because I think you have an interesting history with the genre.
I mean, it's not that interesting of a backstory, but for a few years I did write for Horror Buzz. Well, actually, it was mostly writing press releases, but it was also a lot of reviewing movies, some better than others. One of them was legitimately one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was my longest review.
It wasn't Veronica by any chance, was it? Because that was pretty rough.
No, it was called Inoperable.
Oh, no, 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 no.
I also wrote for CBR at one point.
There you go.
But I was working on lists, and I was doing more like TV, movies, games, not really so much horror. That was not fun. But
yeah,
I'm
I
still
can relate there. I can relate on that one. It sucked.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not as active as I used to be with Horror Buzz, but I am still affiliated, and I have a lifelong love of the genre, and my tastes in it have evolved over the years. That's about it.
What's interesting with horror too, I think, is the reoccurring characters you see in a lot of horror, and I feel like a lot of younger fans gravitate towards like horror icons and horror villains that are reoccurring a lot. I know when I was growing up, like the first thing I watched was Nightmare on Elm Street because like I had to watch Freddy Krueger and like see how cool he was, and like I got freaked out as a kid watching it because it's a good movie, but it's scary. It's actually a really like the first one especially. It's really good, and like I was watching a lot of the old Universal monster films too, because my parents wouldn't let me watch like the really scary stuff. But you know, black and white, it's classy. It's a clever, classy film. You can watch Lon Chaney and like Oxford go around and like choke people with his long claws.
Yeah, man, I cried at the end of Bride of Frankenstein. Is that sad?
No, it's just sad. I didn't get teary at that scene. I got teary when he's with the old blind man and like he finally has a semblance of happiness in his life, and then they come and ruin it for and he's completely oblivious. It's so sad.
Oh, the whole movie I was crying. I was crying the whole time, don't get me wrong.
No. And I think one thing with Bride of Frankenstein, or with Frankenstein in general, what annoys me is that the first two films that James Whale did, you have this very tragic character, this very sad, melancholic story about this creature who doesn't really want to exist, but is forced to exist in society. I mean, that's really the life experience right there in a nutshell. And then when you come to Son of Frankenstein, it's like, oh, he's just a grumbling monster now. He's just killing people now. He's just a slasher villain. And it's like, just never gets better from there in those old classic films, unfortunately.
Yeah, because it runs its course, but they still want to keep the IP alive. So they start jumping the shark and doing things that they know will make money. It's like, you know these guys, you'll pay to see it, fuck you. And that's kind of how I feel about the monster fights that you wanted to talk about. I didn't know when you wanted to segue into that.
Oh, we're segueing right now. This is because I think with the old Universal ones, it's a good way to start with that topic, because it's like with the old Universal cycle of films, they had all the individual monsters show up in their film, and there was no intention for a sequel. It's like, oh, Dracula's a success, let's put Frankenstein out. Oh, Frankenstein's a success, let's put Invisible Man out, and this, that, and the third. And then they stopped when the movies got too gay for them. Really, that's what it was with Dracula's daughter. And then they put them in theaters again, and people were like, oh, actually, people really like Dracula and Frankenstein. Who knew? And they were like, oh, crap, how do we keep these going? Let's just shove all the monsters together in like a big fight scene. That'd be a great idea. It's like a WWE match billing, and it's like, oh, yeah, Wolfman's in this movie. Let's pair him up with Frankenstein. Oh, we got Dracula. Let's bring in John Carradine in to be Dracula again instead of Bela Lugosi because he won't show up for this.
I think, oh my god, who was it? I think it's Burback just did a video about the crossover episode, the idea of the crossover episode. And that's really all these were. Mm-hmm. It was the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour, but with classic Universal monsters. It's like, well, we got them all here. Let's see them fight.
And the best one of those was the comedy, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. That was the best one of those, because it's the only good one. I think what works about that film so well is that the monsters are like in an actual monster film, and Abbott and Costello like completely goofing off doing their like usual shtick. But every one of the actors playing the monsters, they take it like so seriously, and that straight man comedic relief kind of foil works so well in that movie, I think. And of course, they have a big monster fight at the end, where you have Dracula and the Wolfman clobbering each other, and it's great. It's fun. What's funny too is like of all of them, going back to the old movies, Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, you have like the supporting characters from these movies show up in it too. But in all the other ones, the only characters that are reoccurring are just the monsters. It's like a whole new cast. And they show up, and it's like, I'm not sure if you've seen House of Frankenstein, but like the way the movie's structured, it almost feels like an anthology film with like this villain who's played by Boris Karloff. Ironically, in the movie with Frankenstein, Boris Karloff is in it also, but not as the monster. And he's like doing this like this weird bunch of experiments. And in the first 20 minutes, it's about Dracula, and then 20 minutes in, they kill Dracula. And it's not Bela Lugosi Dracula; it's John Carradine as Dracula. And they kill him off, and then they bring the Wolfman in. And it's like, wait, but why wouldn't you bring the Wolfman in when Dracula's here? Why you have a whole segment of your movie about Dracula and then not cross him over with the Wolfman? And then they find Frankenstein, but he's incapacitated. He's like asleep, so they gotta wake him up. And the Wolfman's doing his thing. And then the Wolfman story ends. And then Frankenstein wakes up. So in this crossover with all your major monsters, at no point are they all alive or conscious at the same time in your movie.
They probably just didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Because it was a new concept at the time. And also that was back when movies started to become like a real business. I mean, blockbusters didn't really happen until like the 70s, but cash grabs were still happening. So, you know, like that's really what crossover episodes are.
Yeah. And these are cheap movies made for kids to have like with their nickel to go to the movie theater that weekend. You know, that's what it's like, I have like 5 nickels. Let's all go watch the new monster movie because that's how much a ticket cost back in the 40s. But what's strange is they only did that with the Wolfman, Frankenstein, and Dracula for a while. And then they just stopped doing it. Like they had the Invisible Man, never put him in a movie except for like having Vincent Price's voiceover in like the end of Abbott and Costello. They had the Mummy, didn't do anything with him in these movies. They had The Creature from Black Lagoon was like after all this happened. So it's like all your classic monsters, you only have 3 of them reoccurring, and those are the 3 that would show up in Stephen Sommers' Van Helsing back in 2004 or something like that, which is an underrated gem of a film, I think. But
if you say so.
It's so stupid, but it's so much fun.
Whatever you say, King. I think I was like 9 or 10 when that movie came out. Yeah, so, you know, I went to see it and I was entertained by it because I was, you know, in the 5th grade. And then I went to Universal and there was like a Van Helsing walkthrough and I'm like, yo, let's go. This is going to be awesome. And you see all of the monsters that Van Helsing fights in Van Helsing. I go through it, I come out, I'm like, that was the lamest shit I've ever.
I love that.
I was easily scared as a kid, but even after that, I was like, "That's it." Like,
this is dumb.
Come on,
this is terrible. You can do so much more. I mean, every year with Universal, they have like their horror nights and all that, like in Florida and California, and I want
to go so bad.
I know.
They're doing a Fallout maze this year. I want to go so bad.
They have an Art the Clown one this year that looks fun. I want to.
I want to go so bad.
Freaking terrifying.
Trying to get a posse. My partner doesn't like horror.
Jesus Christ, that sucks. That sucks.
Right? He likes horror comedies. He doesn't like being scared, but like Army of Darkness is his favorite movie.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, that's good. That works for him.
As long as Bruce Campbell's in it, he's fine with it. I showed him Killer Clowns from Outer Space and he loved it. I showed him Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which is not scary.
No.
And I had to promise, I'm like, I promise you this movie is not scary.
I'm surprised you said 2 and not 3 though. I feel like 3 is the one that like horror comedy fans like really like.
Well, the main reason I showed him 2 is because I was like, you have to see the gayest movie ever made.
That's fair. It's funny how deliberately gay horror films are somehow less gay than Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
It's so obvious.
I have a hard
It
time.
was so obvious it ended up outing the poor main actor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's, like, embraced it later on, you know, and because that's, like, what he's most known for, and he's very celebrated for it now. You know, and he's owned it. But at the time, like, that must have been awful.
Well,
like...
that sadly that and AIDS probably outed him, because I know he I believe he contracted HIV. I'm pretty sure, like around that same time.
Yeah, he's had a lot of really bad health struggles because of that, but apparently right now he's like really not doing well. So
that's what I heard too.
I'm not usually one for thoughts and prayers, but you know, but
Seriously.
thoughts and prayers for our boy Mark Patton.
Seriously, same. But yeah, that I find it funny how that film got through like so many people's because that had to go through like various editors, producer types, and they ought to go in the like the most homophobic period of like recent history. Go, yeah, this looks good. This is good. Let's put this out. There's nothing. This looks like good old heterosexual American values on display here. like how do you watch the scene where they go to the leather bar and it's like freaking the producer, what's his name from New Line, is like the bartender at the leather bar, and like how do you as the producer get told, yeah, we want you to dress up in like a leather daddy outfit right now, and you're like, okay, this seems like a normal thing to do for a movie, and then you have the whipping scene and like, oh, I'm gonna kill you by dragging you to the bathroom and whipping you with towels on your bare ass until you bleed out. Like, how do you write that and not realize how extremely gay that whole thing sounds?
And also the fact that, again, so many props to Mark Patton.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best horror movie screams I've heard in my life, if not the best. Like, that's why he's now known as like the first male scream queen. But that's also because the role that he was in is usually played by a woman. Like, it's the final girl trope. Though, I mean, there wasn't really any of that, like, oh, the promiscuous kids are, like, punished for having sex with each other, like in the first Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
And that weird, like, puritanical element, like, that there wasn't really that, aside from when a gay guy is, like, feeling up boobs for the first time, and we saw that play out, and it's like, oh god.
He runs from her and runs to like his best friend's like bedroom instead. It's like first time with a woman, you run to your male best friend's bedroom. That's your instinct.
Yeah. Oh, or when he was like lip syncing to Kate Bush, and in his room, and I'm like, girl, same.
Doing little like butt tap to the shelves to close them up and like popping poppers.
What about the beginning where he and his friend get into like a wrestling fight and they're just like laying on top of each other
with the booty shorts and the crop tops and all? Again, it's like every element just piles on top of each other. Like I know he picked up on the gay text, because how could he not? But like I find it staggering that no one else involved with that film was like at any point going like, you know, actually this movie's a little
Oh god, I could talk about that movie all day, but anyway.
Oh no, but it's funny you mentioned too, like the promiscuity in the slasher films, like the one who has sex first dies and whatever. That's not really present so much in Nightmare on Elm Street, because you have like people get pregnant, you have multiple characters have sexual relations, and they just survive and they live, and it's like I always liked that a little more because it felt like a little divorced. Not like totally, like obviously some characters who have sex die too, but like it never felt as tied to sex as like Friday the 13th or with Jason or anything like that, I felt like.
Yeah, I think as far as like the major slashers, Friday the 13th is my least favorite series out of all of them. Nightmare on Elm Street is probably the best one because like even if the movies are bad, they were still like creative. You know what I mean? And it's so funny because I think it came out a year before Van Helsing did.
Freddy versus Jason.
Freddy versus Jason, and I was re-watching one of the fight scenes from that, and the whole time I kept expecting the Indiana Jones theme to kick in.
Oh god! Oh, did you watch the dream sequence part or like the real life part of that fight?
The real life part of that.
Yeah.
Where they're about to escape on a boat and the girl's like, no, like Freddy killed my family, like I want to watch him go down. So I guess she was rooting for Jason in that fight, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, fair. He's from New
because- and
Jersey, so you got to root for New Jersey people. They're the best, always. No exceptions.
Always.
You gotta support New
Always.
Jersey guys.
We need more slashers from New Jersey. Truly terrifying.
Well, I've seen Alice Sweet Alice. That's a New Jersey slasher right there.
I have not.
That's
There's so many movies I haven't seen.
You're a drag queen and you haven't seen Alice Sweet Alice. That's like a drag mask killer.
I know.
In the Catholic
I'm
Church.
sorry.
It's a good time. I feel like you'll get something out of that one,
sounds so
especially.
fun.
It's good. But no, yeah, so I'm sorry I cut you off there.
Oh, no, you're fine. It was just because I think they're like the 8th and 11th installments in their respective franchises. You run out of places to go by the third one for
Yeah.
anything. For anything. And even that is like pushing it. And I say this as oh god, people are gonna be so mad at me for this. I say this as a Deadpool and Wolverine enjoyer, okay? I saw it in theaters and I liked it, okay? I liked it better than Deadpool 2. I'm a big Deadpool fan. God damn it.
I can't even say you're wrong about that, though. I like that one more than
I liked it.
Deadpool 2,
I liked
honestly.
it. I enjoyed it. I
It's a lot of fun. I thought everyone liked it too until like a week after it came out. The first week everyone loves it. The second week, like, oh my god, it was so terrible. I'm like, but you liked it just last week. What changed?
Yeah.
What's fun with Nightmare on Elm Street 2, because like not 2 is in the second one, but like that as a series, because Freddy vs. Jason is very much a Nightmare sequel with Jason kind of slotted into it. He feels so out of sync with everything else. Like, because, because the Friday films have such a specific structure. Jason comes in, they have sex, he kills them. There's one person who has the gimmick who fights Jason at the end. And then that's it. It always is the same way. But with, like, Nightmare, there's always a mystery angle to it. And there's always the idea that, like, the town has some deep-seated, like, foundational problem that leads to Freddy. And in this one, it's the same thing. The whole, like, Spring, whatever the town is, it's like they have this desire to suppress Freddy. They're kidnapping kids off the street, bring them to an asylum, and, like, drugging them to keep them from dreaming. There's so much bizarre imagery to that film that is so interesting that they never actually elaborate or explore upon at all in any meaningful capacity, because they just want to see Freddy and Jason fight.
Well, there's also, there's a much bigger element of camp in Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is a very campy series, and it starts campy. Like, even the very first one, because I did tech for a stage show that was like a gay and drag parody of Friday the 13th. The queen who was like the star and like kind of putting it all together, her name was Frida Lay.
That's a great that sounds good already.
She's amazing. The show was called Frida the 13th.
Love it.
And it was really funny. It was unironically such a funny show. I wish there was a recording of it, because like I was just in the tech booth laughing my ass off. But it worked. It worked because it's so campy. Like, you can take Nightmare on Elm Street a lot more seriously. And the other thing is, like, just who Freddy is so much more terrifying. Because it's like, this is an adult who preys on children. Just that alone is horrifying. And then also the fact that he kills you in your dreams, and he has big fucking knife fingers and his face is all burnt. Like, dude.
And
crazy.
And in some of the movies, he takes, like, whatever your worst fear, your problems, your phobias are, and then, like, inverts them. And again, like, that's with all these sequels. Even, like, the 6th one with Roseanne Barr that shows up. But even, like, that one, there's some really clever, like, dream sequences. There's the one scene that sticks out with me where it's, like, there's, like, a Q-tip. The kid, like, his mom Q-tipped his ears too much, and he had, like, hearing damage. And then Freddy, like, decides to, like, put, like, a grotesque hearing aid on him and like scratches a chalkboard, and it's like so simple but like so visceral, and it's like, oh, it's uncomfortable, and it's a dumb movie, but like that, it sticks with you.
It's creative.
Whereas with Jason, it's like, what big bladed item will he kill you with this time? Is it a machete? Is it lawn mowing equipment? Is it a bow and arrow? Like, what is this time?
And also, it's where like so many of the horror tropes that we've discussed like originated. So like the final girl, the punishment for sex, the what's he gonna bonk us on the head with next,
basically,
you know what I mean? And then the twist is like, oh it's his mom. Okay, you know.
And the next film is, oh, it's him this time. Like, and the next time, oh, he gets a mask now. What's funny is, I'm not sure if you know this or not. After Freddy vs. Jason came out, it was the most financially successful film, I think, in the series up until that point. Other studios wanted to make crossover films themselves. There were 3 that were proposed. One was a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason, where they would have put Ash from Evil Dead into the mix, and that's now a comic book. That would have been fun. I would have loved to see that.
I would have watched that.
I would watch the hell out of that in a heartbeat.
I would have watched the hell out of that. God, I
great.
love Bruce Campbell.
Oh yeah, but apparently they didn't make that one because, according to Bruce Campbell, and this is his version of events, so who knows how accurate it is, but the way he puts it, they called him up to be in the movie, and he's like, oh, that'd be great, I would love to kick Freddy and Jason's ass, and then there was silence on the other line, and then they hung up. And that's how it went, apparently.
Oh my God.
They wouldn't let
so
him.
many good stories.
He's hilarious. It's great. Anytime he opens his mouth, it's like something interesting is gonna come out of it. But that one actually was the one that came forward almost the most. There were 2 other films from 2 other studios with 2 other monster mashes that were canceled for one reason or another. The one that was canceled the earliest was a 4th Candyman movie that was going to be made that Tony Todd shut down, because he felt it was too stupid for him to ever sign off and be in that film. It was going to be a crossover between Candyman and the Leprechaun. Warwick
that
Davis's,
is really fucking dumb.
It's terrible. Yeah, he's
good call on his end.
Because keep in mind, at this point, it was it Back to the Hood had just come out with Leprechaun, so this was gonna be the follow up to that. And Warwick Davis, who will say yes to anything, he was like, "I'll be into that. That sounds fun." Tony Todd was like, "I have too much respect for this character to do that."
Yeah. Good call on his end.
Seriously.
That would have ruined the legacy. That's next level stupid.
Seriously. The other film, I almost forgot, there's a 3rd film that actually got pretty farther along than initially indicated, involving Michael Myers. So, Harvey Weinstein, a great start to any story right there, wanted to capitalize on the success of Freddy vs. Jason. So what he did was, he looked at whatever horror franchises he owned, and realized he owned Halloween, Scream, and Hellraiser. And so was like, okay, Wes Craven won't let me make a Scream crossover with Halloween because they have Halloween in that movie, so they can't do that. So let's cross over Halloween with Hellraiser. And apparently they got John Carpenter on board, and that they asked John Carpenter if he wanted more free money for using the Halloween license. He was like, yes, please, give me more money, please. And they got Clive Barker involved. And Clive Barker was the first Hellraiser film he was involved with since, I think, 2 or 3. And he was like, okay, I can see how I can work with this idea. And obviously, Clive Barker is a very sophisticated horror writer who loves lots of BDSM and weird stuff. So he was probably going to put Michael through the ringer. I don't know how that would have worked, though. Because Freddy and Jason, they're on the same page. You can hook them up. They seem like they can exist in that same world.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you'd cross over Michael Myers with Pinhead, or why they'd ever interact to any capacity.
Yeah, that's a reach.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
That's a stretch.
It could have been either really good or probably really terrible. I can't see that.
Dog shit.
I can't see that being good because they're just so different. Halloween is not supernatural in that sense. I don't know.
Complete opposite ends of the spectrum. As in, one is supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess Freddy is too kind of.
But not that supernatural. They don't have labyrinths of mythology with these hierarchies of demonic entities. It's not. It's he's in your dreams. He kills you. It's still grounded to the human world. Hellraiser is so esoteric. They can't even continue Hellraiser in their own sequels because it's so esoteric. Let alone in a crossover. They couldn't even do Hellraiser past 2. After that point, it went sharply downhill after 2. Halloween 2, but I just can't imagine how they would pair, and even then how they fight. Pinhead's just gonna chain him up. He's not a combatant.
I learned a lot about crack ships when I did that crossover. When I did my own crossover episode with Vivian Wilson.
Yes.
And it's they have to share something. If they're from different universes, it's usually they're shipped together because they'll have something in common. I'm trying to think of what they would have in common.
Nothing, I don't think, because you can only interact with Pinhead or the Cenobites if you unlock the box. Why would Michael ever touch that box? Is beyond. He has no interest in that. He would be completely disinterested. He'd walk right past it. He doesn't care. He's just pure evil. He doesn't have an interest in that. So
he's kind of just a guy.
Yeah, he's
It's
the
like-
absence of a personality, truly. That's what makes him so frightening. And that's also why, like, there were rumors that they were going to do, like, a Michael and Jason film. That I can see, even though it would be kind of boring, because they don't, like, talk. And even then, what are they going to do? Just stab each other in the chest until, like, one of them drops? Like, there's not much you can do with that. But, like, with Pinhead, it's like... what could you really do with that? Like, the most I can think of is Pinhead, like, is obsessed with causing pain, and Michael feels no pain. So it'd be like, oh, really? I can see that working. That's the only angle,
For a whole
though.
movie.
The whole movie.
For a whole movie.
Well, it was the 2000s, so you got, like, Hostel in theaters. So maybe it would be like a torture, porn film, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
I mean, I liked the Hostel movies when I was 16.
They have aged like sour milk. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things, too, that I want to point out here. There's one character I feel like noticeably was never considered for any of these crossovers, and that's Leatherface.
Oh my god.
At no point was Texas Chainsaw Massacre ever considered for any... There's comic book crossovers. Like, there's one comic book where they crossover Jason and Leatherface together, but in none of the film's treatments did they ever consider using Leatherface for anything. And in case you're curious, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre crossover with Jason involves Leatherface's family kind of adopting Jason, and Leatherface being jealous that, like, someone, like, adopted... Like, he feels like he's, like, being kicked out of the family, basically, by Jason, who's just better at killing than he is. Also, I gotta say this right now. If you're making a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, and Leatherface isn't having a miserable day, you're doing it wrong. Leatherface should be just as miserable as people he's killing in all his movies. Whenever he's, like, happy or eager, you know it's a bad movie. Like, there's the one they did on Netflix, which had the school shooter subplot.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's bad. It's not good. They tried to do, like, a Halloween 2018 with Leatherface, where it's like, they're bringing back the old characters from that first film. You know, those characters that you love so much and totally want to see come back, even though the actor died and they had to recast the actor. And then we're going to bring them in for, like, a scene and then kill them off because no one gives a shit about this character. I do want to bring up one. I feel like we've kind of exhausted, like, that whole slasher icon thing, but I think, like, one crossover that surprisingly worked somehow is Alien vs. Predator.
I'm willing to hear your argument.
Okay. I got you.
I'll hear you out.
That's fair. I'm a bit of an AVP apologist. The first one, anyway, not the second one. The second one is physically unwatchable. It's too dark to
I never saw the second one.
Don't waste your time on it. You really can't watch the second one because the lighting is so terrible. You actually can't see anything that happens with the fights.
Oh my
like,
God.
it's so dark, you can't even make out the glint on the surface of the puppets, let alone
Wait,
anything else.
was it AVB? What was the name of it?
Requiem, I think it was.
That's right.
Yeah. It's fucking bad.
Oof.
Yeah.
12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And that's too high. I think they only... And that's a pity 12%. I'll say that right now.
Oh, girl.
At the very least, the first AVP feels like it makes sense with both series, I think. Because it's like they're both sci-fi, about aliens. Both the aliens and the predators behave like they would in what we've seen so far. And I do like the idea of, like, a human fighting alongside a predator and it being like, oh, you're actually pretty badass. We acknowledge that you're, like, pretty damn cool. That element I like. It is stupid as shit. I won't deny that. I'm not delusional. And it also avoids the big trap that some of these monster mashes do, where in most of these movies, it's 60 minutes of bullshit and then a half hour of, like, the fighting. This, it's like they mix the fighting throughout the whole film. So it's like you get dosages of what you came to see. So you're not waiting the whole movie to get to, like, the one thing you paid your ticket to see. And the unrated version, which is basically like a light R, it's not really unrated by any standards of the imagination. At the very least, that still has a little bit of the carnage that you kind of come to these movies for. Yeah. But even then, like, in terms of either Predator or Alien movies, like, it's nowhere near the peaks of, like, the first two Alien films, the first Predator film, Prey. But, like, I do like how it does give you the marquee fight that you came to see, even though it is admittedly a very dumb movie with a lot of dumb characters.
No, you're right about the pacing though. And I wonder how many of these crossover movies like could have been maybe somewhat more successful if they didn't like just save it for the end. You know what I mean? Or it's just like there just needs to be more of it. Like I saw Godzilla versus Kong, right?
Yeah.
It was a good movie because at least half of the movie was exactly what you came to see. You came to see Godzilla versus Kong, and they're like, we're gonna fucking give you Godzilla versus Kong. And they did, and it was cool as fuck.
I agree.
It was a really, and it looked great. Like it was a really well done movie, and it's like I can't complain. This is what I signed up for, and they delivered exactly what they promised. Go off, girl boss. Like, you know.
And what I like about both those films too, that's interesting, is I like how they don't just stop with the monsters. They bring in like the story that's built up until this point through the other films into it. Like a lot of these crossover films, they'll take the monster. They'll pit them together, and everything else around it's like new, made for that movie. And so you spend all this time trying to develop these other characters that you don't really care about, you don't really have an interest in. With AVP and with Godzilla vs. Kong, and Godzilla X Kong too, they're like, okay, we're going to take things you're already familiar with, we're going to have them kind of watch this fight go on. We're not going to waste time developing new characters who you're not going to care all that much about anyway. We're going to take established ideas and concepts. With AVP, it's like the company of Weyland Yutani or whatever. And with Kong, it's like, oh, the Monarch guys, they're in the background. Oh, this guy was in the previous movie. They're going to come back in here. Oh, this from this island that they had in the previous Kong movies. Now she's in here. So it's like, you know where the pieces come from. And you don't waste a lot of time. Because again, these aren't like sophisticated art films. They're like they're popcorn flicks. You want to get to the bits you paid the money for, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think it works pacing-wise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Whereas all the other ones, it's like, no, we have to establish this lore and these new characters, and you're like going the whole time like, I'm just watching these characters get killed off. I'm not. Yeah. We're at the 8th Nightmare on Elm Street film. We're not coming here for like great character writing in this movie.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you guys are gonna do your little cash grab, at least give us what we paid for. Like, okay. This isn't a horror movie.
Go for
but when it came out, I saw Batman v Superman, and I fucking hated this movie. I hated this movie, and I'm just like, I genuinely don't think Zack Snyder has read a single Batman or Superman comic. I think he read the one crossover comic and was like, I like the part where they fight at the end, and then turned it into a 2.5-hour movie. And I fucking hated it. So then the Snyder Cut came out. People were making a whole big deal about it. My partner was like, we gotta see it. And I'm like, no, we fucking don't.
Yeah, that was me and my spouse.
He's like,
too.
well, I've heard that it's like a lot better. Like it's like half an hour. I'm like, you're telling me I have to sit through that movie for half an hour longer for 3 hours?
Wasn't it 4 hours? It was so fucking long. I thought it was 4 hours.
It was
long.
2.5, and then the Snyder Cut was like 3 hours.
Oh, the Snyder Cut of Batman. I thought it meant the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I'm sorry, I got mixed up.
Oh, the Snyder Cut of Justice League was all right.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It was a mediocre kind of. I was like, okay,
it was fine. I didn't feel like I wasted my time. So we did. We watched it, and let me be clear, it's still a bad movie. But it turns out that the half hour that the studio had cut from Batman v Superman was half an hour of context that made anything make sense.
Yeah, right? Like Superman's entire arc got cut out, basically. Like all the Superman scenes that like are worth a damn were cut out of the movie. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
And I don't know whose call that was ultimately. Like I don't know if it was
studios.
I mean, it was definitely the studios, but I'm not sure like whose call it was for specific scenes to get cut. Because it's like it's more than just like, because the studio's probably like saying, oh, cut a half hour out. If the studio said directly, cut out all the Superman scenes, like, or all the bits developing like how all the connective tissue, it's like, it wouldn't even surprise me. But I'm like, that's like, fire those guys at a certain point. Like, I don't advocate for people losing their jobs, but like at a certain point, you're like, Like, you shouldn't be involved with creative editing if you think those are the scenes that should get cut. Cut the action scene down, actually. That's the part you could cut down a little, because that goes on for like an hour. Like, it's a long fight scene. You can trim that a bit. So any final thoughts you have on the topic, and then I'll just start wrapping things up on my end.
I don't know, nothing that I haven't already said. It's just the way I've always seen those is like, it's a cash grab, no matter what. And what you decide to do with it is up to you. You can decide to make it worth people's time or not. And I feel like a lot of the time they don't, unfortunately.
There's a lot of missed opportunity in those, unfortunately, which sucks. There's a lot of ways you can make it really clever, but aren't you also kind of glad we didn't get, like, Candyman versus Leprechaun?
I am so glad, like, at Thanksgiving this year, they're gonna be like, what are you thankful for? We didn't get Candyman versus Leprechaun. And they're gonna be like, what?
Like, and there's interviews you can point them to, that there's evidence that has existed online to prove I'm not making that movie up. It's a real thing that almost happened. But out of touch film producers, like, oh yeah, what do we own the rights to?
Even like sequels, it's like, all right, where are we going with this?
I feel like with some sequels, you're like, this makes sense. Like, I think, like, with Nightmare on Elm Street, you have the first few. And I think 3, is where the formula really, you can see it really come into its own. Like, oh, it's about, you're seeing generations coming together. You're seeing elements of societal pain. And you're seeing an asylum where none of the adults trust the kids. And it's like, there's a lot of cleverness there with 3. And then they just keep going. And they keep going. And they keep going. And it keeps going.
Yeah.
Come on. And that's one of the better ones. Like, that's not like Texas Chainsaw 3D with like cousins and all that, or and again, it's not even the worst one. That's not even the worst Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. If I were to rank all of them, that'd be in the middle of the ranking, and it's also terrible.
That's
but like
really saying something.
It wouldn't even be the bottom of it, or the bottom couple.
What's the bottom? I want to look it up.
I can narrow it down to 3. It's either A New Beginning. That's the one with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. Leatherface, which is a prequel made by the people who made Texas Chainsaw 3D, and the new Netflix one. And they're all god-awful for different reasons.
What was the one with Matthew McConaughey?
It's called, I think it's called A New Beginning, or The New Beginning.
New Generation?
New Generation, there we go. New Generation, there we go. Again, it's so bad the title has left my mind. That's how bad it is. Like, some people hate it because they play up the cross-dressing angle with Leatherface, because you get a lot of chuds online, they're like, oh, they make Leatherface so gay in that film, it sucks. Like, no, that's not the problem. That's a plus. It's the everything else that brings it down. It's the fact the movie sucks that it sucks. That's the problem.
They made Leatherface woke.
As though, like, it wasn't based on a guy who cross-dressed or in real life. Not looking forward to the Ed Gein TV show, whatever.
Oh, is that happening?
What's his face is doing it? The American Horror Story guy, whose name eludes me, who did the...
Ryan Murphy?
Yeah, Ryan Murphy. He's doing it.
He's in a group of people that I call BuzzFeed gays.
Who else is on that? I'm curious who else is in that.
The original Queer Eye guys.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Sense.
Pete Buttigieg.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm guessing a lot of, like, older queer creators who are, like, have a certain vibe about them is the qualifying characteristic.
Well, it's like usually white cisgender gay male who like has climbed up the corporate ladder by making his homosexuality like palatable enough for straight people to consume.
Oh, okay, now I get what you're talking.
Okay.
And then kicks the
Does
door.
that make sense?
It does, and kind of kicks the ladder away from other creatives who are like outside of that sort of palpable version of his queer identity.
Yeah.
And
I made a video about it like a long time ago.
Oh, I've checked that out, thanks. And of course, we even talk about Ginger Dead Man and Evil Bong, everyone's favorite horror crossover.
Evil Bong! I always forget about that movie.
That was on, like, I have like Roku TV, and that was the Elvira like version of that, where Elvira is making comments throughout the whole film of Evil Bong, and I'm like, this movie is the stupidest. But it's like with Elvira, it's way more palpable than like without Elvira. I'll say that right now. Minus Elvira, that film is like, you've seen it, you know what it is. All right, cool. So I'm gonna stop recording now because I think we've given my editor
Yeah, me
enough to
too.
work with. Okay, I'm gonna hit the stop button there.